What's up, guys? I hope you're having an amazing day. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about retrograde in relationships. Maybe what you are going to or might experience in your relationships, maybe, what you might be doing to others in your relationships. So today is all about this retrograde and what you can look for within your relationships. And so to start this, I wanted to talk about me last year and the way this looked for me and the way that I couldn't make any sense of it, and kind of talk about the way that I blamed, and then talk about how you cannot make the same mistakes that I did. What's up, Rhonda? How's it going? So good to see you. Okay, so this comes around and it's all about sustainability and self-sufficiency. So, if you're doing things in your life in a way that's not sustainable, you are feeling that right now. If the way you work isn't sustainable and you're feeling exhausted and depleted, or you don't have enough money, something is running out, something is not enough. And so that is kind of this energy. And so for me a year ago, I was at a place where I was kind of exhausted. And my problem was that I hadn't set the correct boundaries that I needed to set for the relationships in my life. And so while I didn't really blame anything, I was exhausted and I didn't understand how to move forward sustainably, and it really impacted my life. So today, now that I have figured this out, I thought I would talk to you guys about how this might show up in your own relationships and what you can do to not panic, what you can do to come to win-win situations and not let this retrograde eat you alive. What's up, Susie? Hey, Mindy. Hey, Todd. Yes. What's up, Sandy? So, projection. This is what we're going to be experiencing a lot of. A lot of people are not in a place of well-being. And so they are going to blame. They're going to blame you. They're going to blame work. They're going to blame their boss. And what they're not going to understand is that it's their job to maintain their sense of well-being. And so this happens when we start to lose our self-worth. When we fail to take care of ourselves, we start to blame other people. And so, they're saying things like, man, they were supposed to do this for me. They were supposed to make me feel valuable. They were supposed to make me feel loved. They were supposed to make the money. Maybe you're looking at your husband, you're like, you were supposed to get the income, right? You were supposed to do this. And so, no, it's not anyone else's fault. It's just something that needs a reevaluation. You need to look at your relationships and renegotiate your contracts and make sure that everything's working for everyone, and that what you're doing for work and for each other is sustainable for a long period of time. That what you're doing for work and for each other can result in well-being and happiness. And you need to make sure that you are being self-sufficient. So, a lot of people are going to show up depleted and struggling with their value. And what they're kind of expecting is to be rescued. They're waiting for someone to rescue them. Their husband, their friends, their business partners. They're like, who is supposed to show up in my life to make me feel better, to make me money, to make me this, to make me that? And so what we all need to do is take a look in the mirror and say, wait, am I expecting other people to do things for me that I have not been able to do for myself? Wow, it is absolutely huge. And so this can save you so much strife. And what you can do is sit down in these relationships, not blame each other. You can look at each other and say, hey, let's go for a win-win here. We've been working really hard, but for some reason it's not sustainable. For some reason, we don't have the correct boundaries. For some reason, we're not working in a way that's resulting in well-being. And so let's sit down together and renegotiate this. Let's renegotiate and reevaluate and find a win-win for both of us. And so when you do this, it will result in a win, right? We don't have to get mad at each other And we can treat each other well. We don't have to take this personally. This is just something that's happening on every level. So it's happening to you, it's happening within business corporations, it's happening globally. We are all looking around and we're saying, how can we be more sufficient? And how can we act in a more sustainable way that can result in well-being? So what we can do is take a look at our expectations. What are you expecting the people in your life to do for you, right? Whether it's your husband, whether it's your kids, whether it's your boss or your business partners, what have you outsourced to these people that you are supposed to do for yourself, right? Maybe it's not even that you're outsourcing something. Maybe it's that you don't have the correct boundaries. Maybe it's that you are the one who's bouncing around trying to make everybody else feel better. And in doing so, you never made yourself feel better. That one was me. It took me an entire year to climb out of that and to realize what I did and to realize that the problem was boundaries all along, to realize that it was totally and completely me. And so I am inviting you today to sit down and get accountable. Look at what you're blaming on other people. Look at the expectations that you're placing on other people. Write them down and stick them right in front of your face and let yourself know, wow, all of these things are my responsibility. And this has to come first. I cannot help anyone else until I've done these things for me, because that's the only way that I'm ever going to find the well-being that I'm looking for. That's the only way that my job can be sustainable, that my marriage can be sustainable. It's the only way that these things are going to last. And so this is absolutely huge and so important. And what we're going to be seeing is, unexpected blaming. Maybe some controlling. People are going to start trying to control you. Maybe you're trying to control others. Maybe some shocking moments in your relationship where you're like, wow, where the hell did that come from? And when was that my job? Or maybe it's you shocking your husband and he's like, where the hell did that come from? And since when is that my job? Right? And so this is all about relationships. What's mine? What's yours? Whose responsibility is what? And how can we work together right now, not to fight about it, but to sit down and renegotiate a win-win. So you can have well-being, I can have well-being, and we can continue walking together to complete our goals. And so something else that's really big right now is practicing building faith in whatever you're doing, right? Holding your own vision, practicing gratitude. These things will greatly diminish the impact of this energy that we're feeling. And so I have a really good story to tell you about when Tim and I were absolutely dirt freaking poor. At this point in time, I knew something had to pop off, because if it didn't, we were going to suffer forever. And my cousin brought me this book, and it was the first spiritual book I ever read. And it talked heavily about gratitude. And so at that point, I started visualizing. I started being grateful, and it was hard. I had to stop looking at the holes in the carpet and the cigarette burns in my car and all of the things that I didn't like the fact that we had no grass in our yard. I had to stop thinking about our broken toilet and the fact that we had no washer and dryer. And what I had to start doing was thinking about what we did have. So when I got up in the morning, I would be like, man, I'm so grateful for that couch that Grandma and Grandpa bought us. I'm so grateful for this coffee table. I'm so grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm so grateful that I'm driving to work and that I'm not taking the bus. And so I had to really start being grateful, even though most people in my situation would be like, there's nothing to be grateful for here. Let me tell you right now, there are always things to be grateful of. And you can reframe your experience. Put yourself in someone's shoes who's really suffering, worse than you, and say, whoa, I could be there. I could be being abused or be a victim of something or this, that, and the other, and I'm not. I have a house. I have a job. I have relationships and I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful. You can start practicing positive expectations. You're putting in the work, right? You're walking through your fears. You can expect positive things to come from you. You can start holding your vision. Close your eyes. See yourself in the future house. See yourself at the future job, right? Smell the smells, see the sights, hear the sounds. Really immerse yourself in your vision of your future and hold it. Expect it to come. Make it part of those positive expectations. And understand that as you continue to build your faith, practice gratitude, and practice positive expectations, you can fully expect yourself to land in that vision. And so these things are huge things that you can do with yourself, with the people that you're renegotiating with over the course of this retrograde. And you can start to devote yourself right now to what is meaningful in your life. What is meaningful? What do you love to do? What is your vision for yourself in the future? Could you possibly see yourself achieving one of your dreams? What are your dreams? Do you have any? Because if you don't, maybe it's time to get some so that you can devote yourself to something meaningful in life. And then next, commit with all your heart to put in the work necessary to build your sustainable life that is rooted in well-being. Because that's what this energy is all about, sustainability. If we can't find sustainability in the way that we're working, in the way that we are moving in our relationships, then it's simply not going to work, right? It's going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to lack of income. It's going to lead to something. And so it's our job today to look at our life and say, how can I make these things more sustainable? How can I take better care of myself so that I feel a greater sense of well-being? How can I stop blaming others for not making the money, for not, showing me value, for not treating me this way or that way, because it was never their responsibility. If we can take the self-sufficiency and put it on us, the accountability and put it on us and say, it's my job to make sure I feel value. It's my job to give myself that love. It's my job to make my own income. That's when we can really start moving forward as we hold our vision, as we hold our positive expectations, and as we focus on gratitude. So, huge tip, be gentle with yourself. Don't be upset with yourself if you're blaming other people. Be gentle with the people around you. Don't be upset if they're blaming you for something they should be doing for themselves, right? We can all come together and we can realize that this is our reality. That life is asking us to renegotiate our relationship contracts. Life is asking us to start building on sustainability and well-being. And this isn't just happening personally, right? It's happening on the level of organizations. It's happening on the level of the collective, the world. And so this is something that we're all moving through together, and we can treat each other well as we figure these things out and as we come into, a better life. A more sustainable life, a more meaningful life, and a life that will lead us to well-being, which is really what we all want, right? We want the health. We want to feel good. We want to spend time with our family. We want to feel rested. And so we've got to make these things our main priorities in whatever we're doing, whether it's work, relationships, your hobbies, your personal activities. Something that can be great for us to focus on right now is our sense of well-being and our sense of sustainability. So I hope you guys have a great day today, and I hope that you do well navigating this energy. And I'll say one more thing. Something that always happens with Mercury retrograde, it's like this energy comes in and it wants to push our fears out of us. Right, so we all have these limiting beliefs. We have these fears that are completely tangled in our DNA. And so this energy comes in and it says, it's time for these fears to come out so you can increase your vibration and you can get more out of life. And so when this happens and your fears start coming up, when your thoughts start getting dark and your emotions start feeling heavy, what you want to do is not chase it away. You don't want to start yelling at yourself and say, I'm such an idiot. Why do I think things like this? You don't want to start feeling your emotions and say, God, why am I always depressed? I'm so annoying. right? That's not what you want to do, because every time you resist a thought, every time you resist an emotion, it's going to come back around. It's going to hit you much harder the next time. And so instead of resisting when these scary thoughts and emotions come up, what you should do is accept them. So you get a big scary thought and it's like, you're an idiot and your husband wants to divorce you. Okay? What you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and you're going to breathe. And you're going to say, I accept that I think this way, even though it's not true. I accept that I think this way, even though it's not true. Because here's the deal. We are human beings, and we are allowed to experience every single thought, from the worst to the best, and it's going to happen. And what we don't want to do is resist it, because it will just come back stronger. Accept it, know that it's not true, and as it comes back, do that every time. It'll get weaker and weaker and weaker. And before you know it, you can transcend all of your bad thoughts that way. You can do the same with your emotions. I accept that I feel this way, even though it's not true. Because you are allowed to experience the full spectrum of emotions, from the very worst to the very best. And that is the blessing of being a human being. And so when these big, scary emotions come, we can be grateful for them. Thank God I'm feeling something. Because a lot of people in this world are so numb, they're not feeling anything. And so you can accept that that emotion's there and you can let it live within you. And as time goes on, these emotions will get less scary and less scary. Your thoughts will get more positive and more positive. And before you know it, you can have the most low emotion, but your mind will be like, hey, it's okay. I'm just experiencing this right now because I'm a human. It doesn't mean anything about my husband or my job or my life. It just means that I'm a human being. I can let this emotion live there and it will transcend itself. And so, huge stuff, be gentle with yourself as these big, scary thoughts and emotions come up. Know that your body is purging itself of fear. Know that your vibration is increasing, that your limiting beliefs are releasing, and that because of this, more abundance is going to be magnetized towards you. You are going to increase your life, increase your relationships, increase your income, your job. Everything is going to start to transform because we know that our outer reality is a direct reflection of our inner reality. And so as we start to transmute our inner reality and make it much more beautiful, we can fully expect that our outer reality will take the lead. It will do the same. It will begin to become that much more beautiful as we attract things of our frequency to us. So in my opinion, it all starts here. And Mercury retrograde is always an amazing time to get into this and to get into that inner healing so that you can transform your entire life. So I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I love you. Happy retrograde. Bye, guys.